Hello, hello. It's Katie on Carry, your alchemist, here to talk about radical responsibility and just hang out for a while. And this is going to be tonight's topic. So I'm going to give some people a chance to, um, pop on here. Let's talk about it. I know in the last live, we talked about the discipline of slow and the unknowable. This is actually going to relate to the unknowable, but I actually really want to dig into the unknowable together with you guys another time. So probably realistically, it might not happen until next week. But in the meantime, I'm going to tag people who've asked to be tagged, give people a minute to come on here, and I'm going to try not to spend longer than 45 minutes. I'm going to try to not spend longer than 45 minutes. We'll aim for 30 and see if I can make it under 45. Who knows? Maybe I'll make it under 20. Or maybe not. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe we'll have a lot of fun together and we'll just want to keep hanging out. Anyways, tagging those who requested to be tagged. And if you're here, please say hello. If you're watching the replay, please watch the replay. Did you know that the best way that you can support me is to participate and or, come work with me? But also, if you just want to support me, that's totally cool. It's so easy to do. All you have to do is comment and say, what up? And also, if you are here, let me know if you can hear me. Well, only people who are watching the replay need to comment replay, but thanks for commenting. Elizabeth, I appreciate you. Okay. Okay, I think I've tagged the people who asked to be tagged. Let us see. And good to know that you can hear me. Hey. All right, I'm sure Alice is fast asleep, so tagging her is a moot thing, but she'll see it when she wakes up. But since she's out in the UK world. Okay, so radical responsibility. I want to talk about where it is misapplied. So I have a saying. It's just a relevant saying. I've been saying it for 8 years now, which is different concepts that get taken out of context, oversimplified, and misapplied, especially because we live in such a bite-sized world, right? And bite size is great. Sample pieces are great. Basics are great. Not everything applies to everybody. And I'm going to speak to some tones that I've been called to channel. And just as my pinned rules of engagement, that even before I could pin them, I've been posting now twice a year since 2018, 2019. Hi, Nicole. Hi, how are you? One of the things that I say is because of the way the universe works and the way that I work and the nature of channeling and the nature of reality, it's impossible for me to be universal. My messages are not for everybody. They're for a specific person. And when you're a channel, and everybody means something different when they say the word channel, I definitely say it as just a good old general summary of who I am. I don't like packing my titles. I don't think that that's useful. I think that the shared language of the word channel is enough. But for me as a channel, that means that even the dialect, the tone, the frequency, the language, it is specifically written for in the way that the person needs to hear it through their path of least resistance. So I have messages that burn and they're sharp and they're said with a sword, because sometimes a sword is what is called for, right? And radical responsibility is very much the same way. So I'm just going to riff a little bit about problems with the way that it is taught, meaning there is nothing wrong with radical responsibility. for radical responsibility's sake. It is what is taught as radical responsibility, the way it is applied. And most importantly, as with anything, this should be about, does it help you or not? And so what I really want to talk about is where I've observed when it's useful and when it stops being useful. And I also want to tie this into mirror work. I don't want to get too into it. And you guys have heard me say, my longtime followers heard me tell as well, mirror work is another thing. One of our sayings is the mirror work is in plain sight. And it really is, because we're not saying that vibrational match doesn't work. We teach universal law. I've been teaching universal law for years. So we're not saying, it is not that law of attraction doesn't exist, though that is also multiple laws that have been oversimplified, taken out of context, misapplied, diluted, and then taken out to the masses. And very much it's misunderstood, even by those who are teachers of it, when in fact they were already students of a bastardized, taken out of context, oversimplified, misapplied laws and ideas. Right? And so we have a lot of people whose very lineage of what they teach and stepping up on platforms, this is what it is. I'm going to eat a chocolate because I only have, I keep forgetting to eat it and I have to stop eating. So I'll be eating a chocolate in front of you guys. It's peanut butter. It's my favorite. The best. The peanut butter now. And so what's happening is that people's lineage doesn't really come from anything. It's like telephone. It's like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, except that the original copy is something that was already, in the first place, something that was taken out of context, oversimplified, misapplied, diluted, dumbed down, flattened, turned into something that is one-dimensional. And so when I said I no longer believe in radical responsibility, it's definitely been it's been a journey to get out of some really sticky spaces that have used the terms radical responsibility, and I don't want to get distracted about the spaces, and have projected it, and I'm talking from I have no dog in the fight, from an objectable space, teach it from the tone of fault, shame, worth, good girl, bad girl programming, wrong. There's something wrong with you. There's something you did wrong. There's something you need to fix. There's something in you. And so one of the many problems with that is that, so you can't fool the universe, right? You cannot manipulate the universe. You can't fool the universe. So, which is why you're like, I'm doing the work and it's not working. Well, either you need to keep doing the work or you're not doing the work you think you're doing. Because when you change, everything changes. That is law. And so it's not that you are, and one of our other laws, when you go first, the universe follows. What does that mean? It means that everything is responding to you, the vast you, the you that is a mystery even to you, the you that you have not met yet, the soul level you, the higher self you, the parallel lifetimes you, the 16 million versions of you on 16 million different timelines, compressed and living right on top of each other, experiencing life right now, you. The God keys you, the activations you, your generational blessings, your generational curses, your generational debt, your generational inheritance, your generational promises, your soul contracts, your initiations, your karma. And no, not the karma that is understood as your personal whipping boy or girl or your personal henchman or hitman. No, not that. So yes, you go first and the universe follows. But mirror work is not mirror work, because this is very entangled in the concept, the distorted concepts of radical responsibility. Mirror work, and we'll talk about when radical responsibility works and all the benefits as well. The problem with the way mirror work is being taught, when it's very much tangled up in the law of attraction, it's very much tangled in radical responsibility. They all play games with each other out here in the collective, is that it's looked at as, oh, well, if they lie, you're a liar. That in nowhere is that an actual teaching? Now, can it be effective and beneficial? Do you need to look at how you are? Here's how I like to help my students look at this and how I look at it. You are informing on your current reality. You are responsible for it because you inherited it and you came here on purpose to play this game. Everything is you pushed out. Those are all true. So it's not that those things aren't true. It's the way that it's understood, taken out of context, misapplied, and now being projected out into the universe with the tones of shame, worth, fault, finger pointing. And so getting back to you can't manipulate the universe. What's the problem with that? Well, there's a lot of problems with that, but one of the biggest problems, one of the most basic ones, is the why that you do soul work will dictate its result, because you cannot lie to the universe. You cannot manipulate the universe. So what does that mean? When I start attempting character development as a way to control other people or control outcomes, it literally, because that is my why, because of that is my route, it will actually repel the progress that I'm working so hard to have. And that now my universe is going to start feeling like a tug of war. I'm going to be working and working and working and working to be a better person. And I'm oftentimes going to be missing the messages, missing God, missing my alignment, and I'm constantly confused. So I'm constantly asking more questions to God, constantly following intuition, pivoting here, pivoting there, missing all of the signs, because, when all you have is a hammer, everything you see is a nail. It's a tool in a context. And so, well, why is it so loud and why is it so effective? It was effective for me for a time. I also see where it was ineffective, because here's the bottom line. Here's what I'm most interested in when I'm dealing with a human, when I'm working with a human. Does this make you feel bad? What if there's a way that we can help you feel good while you do the work? I'm not saying avoid stuff. Literally, ask any of my students. I run one of the most confrontational spaces that I've ever experienced, because we believe in actually eradicating and confronting the things, the beliefs, the habits, the patterns that are in your way, so that they no longer become a problem. We don't teach coping mechanisms. A lot of what is taught in the realm of manifestation, universal law, and being a creator of your reality, and are actually thinking positive, trying to handle your mind. They're coping mechanisms. Now, does that mean stop coping? No. But do you want to be a pile of coping mechanisms? Coping, managing, hedging, blocking, keeping an eye out? That sounds exhausting, right? That's a full-time job. We don't want to cope. We want to shift so that there's nothing that we have to cope about and cope with and cope for. All right, so in the very most basics, what I've noticed is that no matter how much I've tried to teach radical responsibility from the lens that I'm coming from a place of joy, it ends up triggering a lot of shame. And again, for those of you who might be getting mad about this for any reason, you're confusing blame. You are taking part, and it's probably because of the way you grew up, and it's probably the way that you motivate yourself and the way that you treat yourself, that you insist that shame is necessary, and you insist that shame is required, and you insist that pointing the finger is what's going to save the world. And I'm just telling you that there's another way. There is a way for that person to be accountable. There is a person for that person to change. There is a person to understand who they are being and how that's informing on their universe. There is a way for that person to understand why they chose this experience on a soul level without being in shame, blame, and looking at their character as something wrong that needs to change, or everything as either a reward or a punishment or a matter of deserving or not. This is very much religious programming, and you can see it. A lot of these people who left religion, it's the same song, different verse. They didn't leave the very energy dynamic and tug of war that they're running away from. It just changed form. Now they're just using the language of chakras and the language of of Eastern whatever and Eastern ideas and the language of energy work, but it's the same fucking shit. Same judgment, same shame programming. Same good, bad, right, wrong, fault, good boy, good girl, bad, lust. Repress, compartmentalize, point finger, superiority, etc. Hi, Amy. Hi, Katie. Hello, Samantha. Hi, Thea. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. Yeah. You know, I love my church folks and I can't stand my church folks. You know what I'm saying? I love my church folks and God damn it, I can't stand those. I can't stand those sons of bitches. Okay, I mean both of those statements with my whole heart. Okay, I have to eat this. Which is it, Katie? Yes. It's yes. So, pastor's daughter, okay? I was raised by Mormons. So, church at 5:30 a.m. before school. Church after school. Church. Bless you. I have to be done eating, guys, in 8 minutes. And I forgot to eat this before the live started. And I deserve this peanut butter. Oh, I've heard of those ones. Uh-oh. You're up there. I'm going to put you in top 5. I'm going to rank you. Congratulations. You've been ranked. I put Mormons in the top 5 as well. The bottom of that 5, though. Mormons aren't as yeah, I'd say, yep. You know, you're picking up what I'm putting down. And I praise Mormons all day long. They know how to take care of their tribe. They know how to tribe up. Let me tell you what. And most of those extreme ones, that, you know, they, whatever their faults, they really know how to take care of each other and come together when the chips are down. And, yeah, take a load off. So, if you're somebody who is blaming everybody, yeah, radical responsibility is going to help. If you're somebody who it has never occurred to you to even think of yourself as if you have been so stuck in just the assumption that you're a good person, because here's the truth. Most people have been raised with the assumption that they're a good person without being told or given a model for what that looks like and being held accountable to when they're not. Or if they were held accountable to it, it was through the lens of a human who was teaching them through shame and teaching them through tools like abandonment, shame, worth, fault, neglect, rejection, mute, removing their presence, disappearing, ghosting, hitting, punishing, with the tone of shame, embarrassment, humiliation. And so these things get entangled with a person's idea of radical responsibility. and worrying about what somebody should do and what they deserve, no matter how easy it is for us to judge how ugly their actions are. If it doesn't help, it doesn't help. If it doesn't get them what they want, because they don't want to be that way, even if they think they want to be that way, it doesn't help. And if it doesn't get you what you want, which is them to be a more accountable, better person, it doesn't help. Does this mean I'm not a gentle parenting? I don't know exactly what that means, but you get what I'm putting down. I'm not a gentle parenting, let people go, send people, send thieves to a therapist instead of jail person. I'm not that. I believe in consequences, but there's a way to do that, right? And if I understand, if I want to actually contribute to change behavior, right? Especially, preferably before somebody gets to the point that they're robbing people and going to jail. So let's not even focus on that extreme, right? Let's not get into the yeah buts and the fringe, right? Let's be with each other here, since none of us are robbers and thieves. If you're busy pointing at this person and that person and this person and that person and everybody else, yeah, radical responsibility is going to help. It's going to help you control what you can control. And on a human lens, if you don't understand universal law and what's actually happening, and you're not interested to understand that energy happens first before the physical, right? But when you understand that, if you're interested in understanding the human and bettering the human, then why bother with what should work? And that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you connect to the human. It's not going to help you get the human to want to change. Excuse me. I'm drinking soda water. I had a peanut butter, whatever. Well, I'm so relieved I got my nails done today. All my nails were haggard. It was a rough couple weeks. I'm freshened up now. My lashes are back. My nails are back. It's okay, y'all. It's okay. Oh, I'll get back to my skin routine. Everything's okay now, baby. So yeah, when you are steeped in victimhood consciousness, radical responsibility is going to help. But a clock is also going to be right, haggard. The body was haggard. From toes to nails till I just looked down and was like, who wasn't taking care of me these last couple weeks? Whose job was this? Somebody fell down on the job. Anybody in grief can relate, right? I just turned around and was like, what? I haven't washed my hair? In how long? I forgot. What shampoo? A few months ago, this year I've experienced more, I used to call them like transformations or initiation points. I don't usually like to use the word ascension, but they've taken on a form that I don't even know what name to give it. I can only say rebirth, an ego death that led to a rebirth. And I'm used to having them. In fact, they usually happen around the same time. My counsel tends to initiate me around the same time, almost every spring, sometimes other times, but typically that is when I will experience particular, shall we say, upgrades that come with initiation, shifts, changes, growth and abilities, whatever. And again, doesn't mean it doesn't happen any other time. But this year there's been it's been one after the other, which has been magical and wonderful, and a little bit like whiplash and a little bit like, okay, it's felt like I landed so deeply into a new universe in there were two major ones. One happened on the fall equinox, And it was so significant that I actually called my closest circle and introduced myself to them. And just before that happened, I was looking at old channelings from 2-3 years ago. And I look at my channelings all the time in memories, and I have a vault of channelings. That's all I do. And it's all, that's literally it's just where I am. It's where I live. Right. So, and I looked at them, and you know how when you grow in your work and then you go back and look at your work and it looks like a 12-year-old drew it? Like maybe you drew a picture and you were like, that picture is dope. Like that monkey is so realistic. That's like a monkey. And I'm going to put it on the fridge and I'm going to share it with my friends and I'm going to enter it into a contest because it is so fucking good. Yeah, that's how I felt about certain channels that I saw a few months ago. I mean, I didn't think all of that, but you know what I mean? Analogies here, right? And I'd read it and still go, wow, I barely remember channeling that one. Whatever, wow. And yep, still relevant. And, I expect growth and evolution to happen, especially because, again, with channeling, I'm speaking to a specific person into a specific timeline at a specific time. I'm not really attached to who it's for. Even if I've turned something into a teaching that I've written on, it's based on a conversation that I have been with my counsel and with God for a while. So it is still something that came from a group of channelings and a deep field of inquiry, right? So yeah, the shift was so significant that I literally felt like it felt like I was waking up and walking outside and was like, wow, what's going to be in this universe? And things that I thought I knew before, I know to such a deeper level, and things that I thought I knew before, I don't care about anymore. And it's not that I looked at those channelings and I didn't agree with them. Not at all. In fact, I could see very clearly, oh, that's who I was speaking to. That was that tone. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. That's who I was speaking to at the time, It's just that I've never held the way things are more loosely in my entire life. I've never been less attached to the way things are. And I've been hinting at this because this has been a long journey. So my last pinned engagement, I kind of said, hey, guy, by the way, I don't fucking know. Who the fuck am I? And I don't really know. And I'm kind of letting go of things. And I don't know what I agree with anymore. It's kind of been leading to that, right? And if you're not growing and maturing and evolving in your work, because truth is a skill and it's a capacity that you have to be trusted with. Laws are involved for you to even be able to handle particular truths. There is a reason why esoteric knowledge was kept for the masses, and it wasn't a conspiracy. It was an act of protection. There are things that are, your consciousness is, I used to have a live I did a while back called The Fragility of Consciousness. It's a very important live. Because it's amazing and it's wonderful and it's vulnerable and it's pliable and it's malleable, which is why it's amazing and it's wonderful. And it's why you can do so much with it. And it's why you can, in fact, change. And you can allow changing and shifting to happen fast. And you can allow it to be easy. You can learn how to be somebody who shifts with ease and lets go of things with ease. It can become a skill that you can do. And truth is also a universal reward for integrity, for your inner integrity and stability. So as you deepen in your own personal integrity with God, with your alignment, with your blueprint, with your word, with your deed, with your service, with your heart, with your purpose, the byproduct, the consequence, the reward will be higher and higher levels of truth. So I had already been feeling that brand new, the equinox. And then a few weeks later, I should really go figure out what day this was. Time is just difficult for me lately or in the last year. Anywho, God does what God always does. God sends me on the road, y'all. And I'm in the middle of working, whatever, and God says, drive to this place, an hour south, start driving. And I start driving and I start having what I call like an ascension. And I don't know how to put any other words to it. I can say that at different times, it's literally, I've had one ascension period where it was the same as taking mushrooms. Like I was high as fuck. And then I landed in a new space and I was different, right? So I was having one of those times, but it wasn't like that, which is why I say I've never used the word rebirth, but I can only describe it as rebirth. I started receiving all these things and seeing all these things. And I go to this I get taken on this weird detour and I go to this, God tells me to go to this, shows me this like tiny herb shop I went to in this town once. It was like, I went there looking for like a vitamin. They didn't have it. And I didn't remember them having anything significant. In fact, I remember them not being very helpful. So I was like, I don't know why I'm going here, but I'm going to go here. Oh yeah, that's what it was, because I got told to stop at home and get my hape. So I go stop at home and get my hape. That's all I stopped. It was in my hand in the car. And then all of a sudden it wasn't there. And I knew I knew immediately because that's happened before. I was like, okay, so I'm going to this place because that's where God is telling me to get the hape. And I walk in and this shaman is walking in with a huge new bag of hape. And if you don't know what hape is or rape, it's a Amazonian traditional tobacco snuff, and it's a ceremonial tobacco snuff that's mixed with a certain type of ash, and a flower blend. And of course it's made with ceremony and intention. So I go to, this guy literally is bringing a new bag of this, this medicine and these pipes. And he like insists on having me try them. And we're talking and he starts telling me about some dreams he's been having and some experiences that I'm going to leave out of here. But I've been having a lot of prophetic dreams about, this area, and there's some unhappy energies here about, there's a lot of growth here and there's a lot of unhappy, energies. And there's a lot of people, doing things they shouldn't be doing here. I live in Quintana Roo. I live between Cancun and Tulum. So Tulum is full of a lot of people are coming to this area and they're dropping off their entities and curses and whatever. So I'm not gonna get into it, but there's things. So things have been happening. So I run into this guy. He starts telling me about his dreams, whatever, right? And he is basically facilitating me. This is not the first time that God has sent me to somewhere randomly where all of a sudden I walk into some weird prayer ceremony and some facilitator ends up blessing me, mark me, or whatever, and initiating me into receiving something. So this is no different. He ends up serving me, this hape, and then he tells me where to go. This beach that I can go to because there's problems with beaches here right now, and or at the time. Anyway, so I get to the beach, and God literally, actually on the way there, very long story short, a lot happened. So having a conversation with, I died on the beach, and I was so small. I felt so small. And God sat me down and he blew up my consciousness. I mean, he blew it up like it was so big. And then he had me hold up my hand and he put everything I knew in my hand. And it was the size of the tip of a needle. It was the size of a pinhole. And he said, that's everything that you know. And I just looked at the pinhole as I sat, and the vastness of my consciousness inside the vastness of consciousness. And I died. And I've never been less attached to the way things are, or the way that I think things are, or the way that society thinks things are. Ever. I've been saying I'm on the accidental path of non-attachment. But now it appears that it's gotten a lot more purposeful. It's weird because, it's my job to transform. And each transformation requires this new level of surrender. And just like with everything else, you think surrender is going to look a certain way. But the very point of surrender really can't be surrender and look the way you think it should look or the way that you want it to look, or involve surrendering something that's easy to give up. I can say that even though I died and there were a lot of smallness, of course, some things that came up, God also showed me like a growing light bulb. All of a sudden I was a light bulb, and said my next season of expansion was just going to be just expanding light, which is great because this last season was more like digging. It was a digging out, a cleaning out for the last year. And that's saying a lot because I have been all in on the digging out, and from, facilitated, high ordered training, studying, surrendering, bettering, digging out, shadow work stuff. So if I'm saying it's been a year of digging out, it's been a year of digging out. And yet the digging out has just literally been unattaching, unsubscribing, breaking up with, letting go, letting things die. Letting things die and refusing to let it, when things die, they will stand up on their way out the door to be heard. They will stand up on their way out. And for most people, their problem is that they don't let those things walk out the door. They don't know how to allow those things, to let those things go when they stand up, right? Because everything alive wants to stay alive. So it will stand up. Not every single thing. That's why you don't need to seek it. That's why processing is stupid. Processing is what? You distort a memory every time you think of it. When you recall, and then the emotional state that you are in when you recall a memory distorts a memory. And you're trying to process this from what distorted lens while you process? And to what end? And you're hanging on to it, and you're retelling it, and you're reaffirming it, and then you're calling all of that soul work. And then soul work is so hard, and then you're telling everybody else, oh yeah, I work really hard. I'm all in on my soul work. You're all in on something, but it's not soul work. And so since I work with grown women who are not stuck in victimhood consciousness, that doesn't mean that there's not work to do. We all have work to do. Your consciousness is vast. It's contradictory. You've got decades of data and information, and you're supposed to go through it layer by layer, and you're supposed to find these things. But the way to find these things and to get your power back is not always by saying, it's my fault and there's just something about me I need to change in order to stop experiencing undesirable experiences. You see, a lot of radical responsibility is also taught from the lens of controlling your reality or avoiding undesirable experiences and calling it mastery. Do you know what I'm talking about? Can you think of what I'm talking about? Have you seen what I'm talking about? Oh, if you can't find this in somebody else, it's because you don't have it. It's because they're secret. And that's the answer all the time, everything. That's one tiny law. And it's a misunderstood, simplified application of that law. When Spirit had me start channeling universal law tenets, a time ago, a couple years ago. I'm not usually this bad with time. Said there are millions. Now, you could call them, different systems, call them different things. You can call them tenets. You could call them the different mechanics, the different frames. And you don't need to know them all, by the way. That's not what they're for. You don't need to. That's what's wonderful. That's what God showed me. Not only is there so much you don't know, but you don't have to know it all. The answer to mastery and living a totally out loud, powerful, audacious, purposeful, purpose-driven, purpose-giving life, you don't have to know everything. And this is coming from somebody who loves knowing as much as I can. I am a student of life, for life. And I am for people who are in love with learning themselves, God, the universe. And they want to play a bigger game. They don't just want to be like kind of okay and struggle through. Like, no, they want... I'm for courageous devotees with... I'm for the inner mystics and the inner philosophers on a quest, ready for voyages. I'm really good at helping you manifest what you want. I'm just not really interested in pretending for a second that I'm not interested in letting anybody else, myself included, think that power means control. And thinks that empowerment means that you're going to have control over your circumstances, experiences, etc. Can you stop playing stupid games and win stupid prizes? Absolutely. One of the best things about my life right now is that I'm experiencing such a beautiful experience of contrast because, this event happened. I lost my friend. I'm grieving, and I've never been more loved. Everything in my life is just wonderful. I mean, nothing needs to change. I'm so loved. I love well, and I am loved well. Everything is good and well and lovely and wonderful and electric. And I'm already in alignment. And I just get to keep going because alignment's not static. Well, just kind of rambled. There's probably a lot more I could say. Thanks for hanging out with me while I rambled and thought aloud with you with no real point. Just wanted to share my heart about that because if you are somebody who struggles with shame, if you're somebody who has a particular relationship with fault, if you're somebody who actually takes too much responsibility because you're a people pleaser, you have an inner people pleaser, and sure, it's probably gotten you really far. And you've probably ended up in a lot of leadership positions, but maybe you're in a lot of leadership positions because of how much you lack boundaries and how much you sacrifice, all under the name of the inner people pleaser. That's why you hold so much space and forgive so well and handle everything, because of your inner mediator that also was developed from trying to keep safe and trying to keep your home life on an even keel. And so maybe your radical responsibility is really entangled. Maybe we need to untangle it from these other aspects. But most importantly, radical responsibility, it works kind of on a probability standpoint. Once you mature to a particular level, once you get out of victim consciousness, there's likely other factors at play. There's likely a richer nuance happening. And if everything is radical responsibility, then where's the room for medicine? Where is the room for initiations if everything is radical responsibility and fault? Where's the mystery? If we can't know the universe, then we have to leave room for what we don't know in all things. It doesn't mean that we get to be aimless and not stand on any type of truth or anything that we do know. Nuance. We need to be able to hold both of those things. So is radical responsibility an answer, an A factor? Absolutely. It's the way that we use it for ourselves and for each other. It's the way it's been entangled in a lot of oversimplified, misapplied applications of universal laws and teachings, ancient systems and teachings. And there will come a point in your evolution when you're playing a bigger game, as many of my clients are, where there's something deeper happening, something more magical happening. And not only that, but the more and more responsibility you take, the more likely it is that somebody's going to use your radical responsibility against you. And that's just the life. That's just the way things are. So there comes a time when radical responsibility is going to become the thing that you gaslight yourself with. It's going to become the thing that becomes your personal bypasser. So yeah, there is a time when radical responsibility stops working and actually starts to become harmful and actually causes you to miss the real signals of the universe and the conversation that you're having with the universe through your life experience. Because it is going to make you see everything. Oh, here's the biggest one. Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't start with this. You know what the biggest thing radical responsibility is going to do? It's actually going to turn you into a fucking narcissistic, self-absorbed asshole. Just because everything is a response to you doesn't mean everything is about you. So if you're not careful, you'll be so busy, obsessed with radical responsibility that you will make everything about you and you will miss the people in front of you. And you will miss out on the intimacy and the connection. And it will actually become the thing that leaves you isolated and alone, instead of connected and happy and experiencing intimacy and having experiences with other humans that are human. They're just as human as you. And they came here to engage with you and teach you something and experience something and receive something to you and play a role for you on your behalf. So if you're busy trying to get these people out of your life under the guise of finding fault in yourself and fixing it as a way to control your universe and control your experiences, you're going to miss out on connection. And I keep meeting people feeling so alone. I don't know about you, but that's the biggest complaint I hear. Everybody I know feels isolated and alone. Amazing people, genius people. I'm not talking about hot messes and nobody wants to be around. Everybody feels more disconnected than ever. Why is that? We need to look at that. So if radical responsibility isn't helping you thrive in your relationships, then you're probably misapplying it, or there's a tool that's going to be more effective for you. That's it. And you know, it's people get obsessed with it. People get really cult-like about it. It becomes this thing. And I'll say one more thing about it. I will say that I also find it to be very masculine. Meaning, the only people that I see teaching it at this extreme level are men. And what I've observed about men is that men tend to have a different type of relationship with shame. And they also think that shame is necessary, and they use shame to motivate themselves. And they think that shame is an appropriate feeling to invoke in other people in order to better them. They think that shame is valuable. You ask any women and they're not going to tell you that shame is valuable, right? They might say use it. And I'm somebody who teaches that. Like, if shame is already where you are, then by all means use the shame that you have as fuel to become a better person, right? If shame is happening because of actions that you're not proud of, then use the shame that you already have produced and created to change and be somebody that you're not ashamed of. I believe in using the tool that you have when you have it, but I would prefer to help you become somebody who doesn't need it in the first place. And I would prefer to help you eradicate the shame and make sure that you're not moving from the shame, and that the shame isn't what dictating how you move. You're just using shame as a pointer to point you to where the work is, as information as to where the work is, not the work itself or a sign of truth and something that you deserve to feel. Is it useful? Can it be useful? Sure. Is it necessary? Absolutely not. And for women especially, it's very harmful. Not because women should be unaccountable. It just needs to look different for us. Shame is not a useful way to bring out the best in a woman. Okay? So what I have also noticed with that is that it's very, very masculine men who are with their masculine hammer. They're like, yeah, sure, radical responsibility, this, and everything's your fault, and extreme ownership, and Navy SEALs, and I don't mean to belittle it. Again, it has its place and value. But that type of hammer approach is not, it doesn't really serve the whole human. And I have seen that it doesn't serve a lot of humans to handle them that way. It doesn't bring out the best. There are better ways. Shame is a low vibrational emotion for men and women, so men don't need it either. However, men just have a different relationship with growth. Their growth looks different. Their evolution looks different. So while it's not something that they have to have, it's because of the way their evolution and initiation looks like, it's something that they value. And that's why, to a lot of men, it appears like women don't like to be held accountable. But that's not it. It's that women don't do well with shame and being shamed. It's that women need to be handled differently. Not without accountability, not without awareness and responsibility. And sure, some shame might happen depending on how she needs to look at herself. But using shame as a tool with women doesn't work. It does not work in the long term, even if you get some temporary result. It will kill her essence in the long run. And then it will have like this self-fulfilling prophecy about it as well. It'll put her in a pendulum swing that actually puts her further into the actions that created the shame in the first place. So you'll actually just create a shame cycle. And that shame cycle will include the actions that make her ashamed of herself. Or make her feel ashamed because of how she's afraid that you will accept her or deny her, because now you're going to trigger her abandonment wound. And with most women, shame is attached to a core abandonment wound. And a woman's core wound is abandonment because her core need is security. Okay, so that was an important one. Be careful that in your quest for radical responsibility, you don't become a self-absorbed person, making everybody and everything about you, so much so that you miss the gold in other people, and you forget to be in relationship, and you forget to see them and be in a mutual place of serving each other and being each other's medicine and each other's blessing and each other's magic. All right, so just shared some super personal things that I almost never share on my regular timeline. This felt more like type of call I usually have with my girls inside the luminary. But I ain't scared. I share what I want when I want to share it. So I am pushing back the Audacity class, but I'm still doing the Audacity Keys transmission Sunday. And so for those that already bought it, or if you buy it, you'll get a ticket to the transmission and you'll get a ticket to the class next month. So that, because I really want to give it all I've got, and I just wouldn't be doing the full thing of service. So I think I'd announce that Wednesday. So if you'd like to be with me, I'm doing the transmission right when the winter solstice perfects. It could not be a better time for the transmission itself and whatever it unlocks in you. And we'll just do a little journaling together. The winter solstice is a great time for personal decrees, cutting cords. And, you know, saying no is one of the most powerful cord cutting when you can say it from a very empowered and clear place. From a place of sacred audacity. So, yeah, so if you'd like to sign up for the class still, if you just want to do the transmission for this Sunday, you can reach out, and I'm only going to charge $111 for the transition by itself. But if you're like, I want that and the class, I think with the coupon, I think it's only $222 with the coupon, and then you get the transmission and the whole class. Because I'm going to keep the For the Love of Charlene coupon code active. So if you'd like to join me for that this Sunday, great. Open enrollment is coming for the Soul Alignment Institute. I'm really excited to announce all of the changes because you're going to get access to the Initiates Codex, where we talk about universal law, the Luminary, where we work on the beliefs related to becoming an audacious person who trusts themselves unequivocally and obeys their intuition, trusts their intuition, and hears God clearly. In addition to other teachings in alignment, consciousness, manifestation, etc. And personal time with me, office hours with me every month. Group mentorship, baby. The culture in my spaces is amazing. And I'm going to be offering some founding members enrollment. I know some of my students are on here now. I love you very much. Yeah, that's all I got. Mwah. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, I'm sure I'll do another live before Christmas. But happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Merry all the things. I'm out, bitches. Oh no, I got chocolate on my teeth. That chocolate was worth it. Okay, bye.